Hello everybody and welcome to League of Europe Porsche Cup Round 6 Division 1 at Bathurst. Night race today. Of course, infamous Bathurst 12 hours only starts before the sun rises, but tonight we've set the time till after the sun sets. So it's pretty dark for us, only illuminated up the mountain by headlights. So it's very pretty tonight, but a bit inconvenient because it's difficult to see, but we'll make the most of it. It is round 6 at Bathurst. Campbell currently leads the championship on 139 points. 7 points behind on 132 is Palmer. Then Kyle and Whiteout on 198 points respectively, so they're quite far behind. But of course it is 35 points for a win in this league. Campbell not actually having won since the opening round at Barcelona. He's been the most consistent so far, but Palmer's definitely been the man to beat in the last 3 races. As we'll have a look on him now, he's currently in provisional pole position by 0.07 seconds. So 700ths of a second there. Jackster, an Indian driver. What is it with these these drivers with Indian flags? I'm not sure if they actually are Indian or if it's just a meme or a joke. I don't really know. But yeah, Palmer from practice, I can confirm, I believe he was the fastest in practice, so looks again to be the man to beat. Really on fire at the moment, as I always say, definitely because of that RLH sticker on the back of his car. That's definitely the reason for his real solid run of form for the last 3 races. Chai's currently doing well in 3rd position. He set a lap of a 2:03.242, but it looks like he's on he's burning some fuel at the moment. The other SLM driver, as Jackster's taken provisional pole position. Very close between Palmer and Jackster at the moment. So good lap from Jackster there. As should we find someone to ride on board with? Should we ride on board with Campbell? He's on an out lap. Whiteout, let's go with Whiteout. We'll go on the roof cam. At the top of the mountain now, really high speed section, really difficult to get right and carry the speed through Skyline. And then down the hill, or the mountain I should say. So through the S's, down the dipper, into Forest's elbow. He really needs to get a perfect run onto straight. He goes a bit wide there, so that won't help his run down the Conrod straight towards the chase. This is going to be let's see how well he does on this lap. He's on a couple lap old soft tyres, so maybe not setting his provisional best so far. Oh, he is. He's gone 2.5 ticks quicker, but he's still 1.4 seconds off the pace of Jackster and Palmer for the time being. His teammate Kyle is doing well up in 3rd as he runs up the mountain. He's just set his personal best of a 2:03.1. So I'll load up the stream so I can see people's comments, etc. Whiteout sets a new time, goes 5th fastest ahead of Campbell. So Campbell seems to be struggling for the moment. Not on his usual top 2 pace. Oh, Kyle! Oh, and Kyle has binned it. Kyle has completely binned it down the S's. See if we can get that on replay. Just looks like he just carries a bit too much speed through, loses the back end, and yeah, of course, barely any runoff area around this track whatsoever. He was purple as well, so that's a shame. As yeah, it just clips the grass, loses the back end, touches that wall. Ooh, that would be a huge shunt if we were in the real world. But luckily, only a bit of minor damage for Kyle as he's able to go again, since their light damage is on in this league, so damage only lasts for about 20 or 30 seconds. Palmer's on an outlap coming through at the top section of the mountain. Let's have a look at Campbell if he's started his lap yet. Yes, he has. He's right on board. But he's probably regretting choosing the yellow headlights at this point of the season, because they may look good with his green car, but they're definitely harder. They definitely make it harder to see. in my opinion. He's 1.1 seconds up, so that looks to be, if he can continue this pace, it looks like he's on course for provisional pole, as he doesn't want to be held up by Tyres yet. He flashes it, Tyres pulls out the way after making a mistake. Oh, a bit scrappy through there, going into Forest Elbow and getting a run onto Conroy Straight. Much better exit than we saw Whiteout get a few moments ago. Let's see if he's improving. He's only up by 7/10, so he lost quite a bit in that section. Like I predicted, he was a bit scrappy going into the Forest Elbow, into the chase, through the chase up towards Murray's Corner, or the final corner of the track. Let's see if he makes improvement. He should be improving, but by how much is the question. Only improved by 0.6 of a second. It looks like he was a bit scrappy towards the end of that lap, so maybe he'll be trying to improve on this lap. So, Jackster still in provisional pole, because it looks like he's about to set a lap. Yep, he's on his out lap, he's going for another lap. Oh, he's just run to the grass there, so that may have lost him a little bit of time. Palmer's on a lap right now. Let's see if he can improve. He's not on full beam, interestingly, so I don't know if he's mapped that, because you can map the buttons to change between low and full beam. It looks like he's on low at the moment, so that may... there's a lot. Yeah, this is struggling a little bit. We'll try and hopefully won't be interrupted. So Campbell's kept it pretty close on this lap so far, which is fine. He just needs to improve in the final the final two sectors, but it looks like he's not doing that at the moment, as he's lost the back end quite a lot through the S's there. This is where he really needs to improve, through the final corner before the biggest straight of the track on the Conrod Straight. Yep, he's not improving on this lap, so it's going to be tight. Whether he, yes, he should be able to. If he pits now, he'll have to be very quick, but he'll get another lap in if he pits now. So this will be. Let's see if he makes it into the pit lane. Let's see what he does. Is he going to pull into the pits? Yes, he does. He pulls into the pit lane. Got about 20 seconds of leeway to set a new lap. Luckily, the pit stop times are very short here. So Campbell will be in the pits, as Palmer has set the fastest lap of qualifying so far, the 2:02 dead. So 0.6 quicker than Jackster at the moment. Can Jackster match his time? He's coming towards the end of his lap, coming through the chase now. We will now see if he is able to improve on his time and put the challenge to Palmer, who once again, as I've said before, seems to be the man to beat. No, he's not going to improve on this lap, so he's going for another one. We'll come back to him in a moment. Whiteout is just ahead of Palmer on track at the moment. Of course, 7/10 behind him on the timesheets. Coming on to people's finals laps now. Let's just give me 2 seconds as I have a little break. Sorry about that, I'm back, and while we've gone, it looks like Kyle has jumped into second position behind Palmer, only 4/10 behind. Will Jackster looks to be the biggest challenge to Palmer throughout qualifying so far. Campbell's on his out lap, as we saw a moment ago. He'll be looking to, well, he's got to improve really, to have a challenge for pole position. Which you can overtake here, but it's crucial that, well, while it's crucial that you have good straight line speed, but I believe, you know, setups are fixed in this. It's hard to overtake here, but it's also pretty easy at some point. You just have to combine the lap pretty well, and that looks like Palmer's run wide, and he won't be improving as he's stuck behind Whiteout. I probably would have backed out in his position before he started the lap, because that looks like that's really compromised him, and yeah, he's gone wide there. So no new time for Palmer. Will Jackson improve and take pole position? No, he won't. He's quite far off his personal best. Who is next across the line? Can we see? Fun Anywhere's just set a new lap time. Only 8 drivers tonight. That's quite a poor showing, unfortunately, as Fun Anywhere is really lagging out. That's interesting movement there. So, Kyle, is he the man to beat Palmer tonight? Looks like, in my book, he's the only one that can do it, unless Campbell can really pull something special out of the bag. Kyle running up towards the line now, coming to the final corner. Will he improve on his lap and steal pole position away from Palmer at the last gasp? It's going to be very close. He needs to beat 2:02 dead. And he doesn't. So, Kyle into second position, 2 tenths behind Palmer. Campbell still down in 5th. We'll see midway through the straight if he is improving on his lap time. He should be. He will really be disappointed if he's not, of course, because he's had so many... his best lap was quite flawed. He's half a second up, but that's not quite enough to boost him up into pole position. He still needs to find another half second in the final sector as well. Coming up to the chase, coming through the left-right section. You had to get my lefts and rights there for a second before the final corner. Is he going to take pole position from Palmer up to the final corner now? He's down in 5th. As he's coming up to the line, it doesn't look like he's going to take pole. Will he be able to? No, but he jumps up to 3rd position. So, qualifier has ended. Palmer on pole, Kyle in 2nd, Campbell 3rd, Whiteout 4th, Chais 5th, Jackster 6th, and I missed the bottom 3, but we'll continue that before the race starts as the timing screen comes up once again. Yeah, so Jackson in 6th, and on the back row of the grid, V5 and Fun Anywhere rounding out the back of the field. It looks like they may have qualified on the medium tyres. Move that cursor out the way. Following Kyle. And it is lights out and away we go. Palmer looks to get a great start off the line, and he's up into 1st already. Surging past Kyle off the line, getting a... well, he already was ahead, of course. He bogged down at the start, but surged past again. Kyle in 2nd. Whiteout's got up into 3rd. Campbell's down in 4th. Jackson in 5th. V5 in 6th. Fun Anywhere in 7th. And Chais, unfortunately, again, for him, dropping down to the back of the field at the first corner. Let's have a look to see what happened there. Riding on board with Chais now. Ooh, goes for a bit of a lunge there. And then loses the back end. Oh, that's all on him, you'd have to say, unfortunately, for the Dutch driver. But we'll resume this battle as Kyle has got into 1st position, as I've completely missed that. He must have got it down the straight. Can we catch that on a replay? Yes, we can. So into the slipstream. Oh, bit of a dive bomb there, I would say. Palmer tries to keep it round the outside, but no, that's not going to work there. Let's see if we can get that view from the off-board shot. Oh, no, that was a pretty clean move. He went a bit deep, but it worked, no contact, and got through pretty well. So, Kyle leads the race here at Bathurst tonight. Palmer in 2nd, Whiteout in 3rd, Jackster in 4th. Campbell dropped down to 5th after the start. Maybe unsettled by that move from Chais, as Jackster's up into 4th. Chais is already back up into 6th position. As it looks like V5 and Fun Anywhere have both lost out in the mountain section. As Chais runs wide at the chase, missing his braking zone completely, and he may get a penalty for that as well. And he's loses the back end on the grass. Very shaky opening lap from the SLM driver, but it's Kyle who leads the very first lap of the race, so that's not another hat-trick for Palmer. He's not going to lead every lap of this race, as he's lost the lead on lap 1. As there's a bit of dust coming up behind the drivers now. It looks like Campbell actually. Oh, as Jaxter has run wide, and Campbell's been able to get past on the run up to turn 1. Oh, just lost the back end coming through Hell Corner. Lucky not to spin it completely, and Campbell, oh, he takes avoiding action to avoid Campbell there as he comes through. But that's pretty poor for Jaxter there. He's down in 5th position after a pretty strong start. Kyle leads the race, but Palmer is right on his tail. Palmer will really be... This is the best opportunity for him to take the championship lead, as if he wins tonight, he will go... and if he wins tonight and Campbell comes 2nd, he will go joint top of the championship, but with on countback on amount of wins, he will take the lead of the championship if he can win here tonight. But at the moment, Kyle is leading, Palmer in 2nd, Whiteout 3rd, Campbell 4th, Jaxter 5th, Chai 6th, V5 7th, and Fun Anywhere down in 8th position. Of course, those two on the medium tyres on an alternate strategy to the guys in front of them. So Palmer doesn't look close enough to make a move up into the chase. He's going to have the slipstream though. The gap will be really close before then. He'll want to be of course, lots of drivers are really flashing their lights, try and cause a distraction. This is the most distracting place to flash your lights, I would say, as Campbell is currently down in 4th and he's got a 2-second gap to Whiteout ahead. So a pretty poor start for his standards for Campbell. Of course, I'm sure drivers like Chais and V5 and Funnyware would happily swap with him. But yeah, Campbell's struggling a bit at the moment. We'll have to see if he comes into the race later on. But at the moment, the top 3 separated by only 9/10 of a second. Is Palmer going to make a move into turn 2? Really fast right-hander, one of my favourite corners on any track. This corner is so... I love this track. It is a beautiful, beautiful track. As Kyle really loses the back end there, and that's going to allow Palmer to maybe sneak a move. No. It's very difficult to overtake in the mountain section, but if you have balls of steel, I'm sure someone will be able to pull it off tonight. As I say that, Kyle runs wide and Palmer goes round the outside. They're going to be side by side into the next corner. Palmer's just ahead, but he's got the outside line, and Palmer has to concede that position or he'll end up in the wall, and that's going to allow Whiteout to look round the outside of Palmer. Really good racing from these guys at the moment, and that's Whiteout up into 2nd position. So, Palmer, as Palmer slides back up the inside of Whiteout, and makes a great move through Skyline. Let's take a look at that on the replay. So Palmer has to back out there. Luckily he doesn't touch the wall. He does slightly, but no damage done there. And that allows Whiteout to get a really good run round the outside. Whiteout squeezing Palmer a little bit. Palmer's still on the inside, and he sends it up the inside of Skyline. Great move from him there. Touches the wall for good measure on the way through. Really good overtake from the SLM driver, but he's now lost 1.7 seconds to Kyle. But we've seen from the first couple of laps that Kyle is prone to a mistake or two. This has all allowed Campbell and Jaxter to catch up slightly, as Jaxter's right on the back of Campbell now. As he's looking for a move up into the chase. No, he backs out of it and doesn't go for a move there. Looks like he backed out of it a little bit there before he got to the braking zone. Palmer defending from Whiteout. This is all allowing Kyle to get away. He'll be wanting his teammate Whiteout to really be pushing Palmer, try and get past him and hold him up and get a 1-2 for Apex Racing Team, of course. Had pretty poor luck so far this season. Oh, as Palmer gets a really poor exit out of Hale Corner, and that's going to allow Whiteout to stick right on the back of him. Only 2/10. Is he going to make a move up into turn 2? It looks like he may be too far away, but will follow on board. Whiteout looking around the outside. He's hanging it around the outside. Palmer giving him plenty of space, and looks like Whiteout went a bit too deep there, making a bit of a brush with the wall. And we're down to 7 drivers now, as Fun Anywhere has retired from the session. All of this allowing Kyle to get a 2.5 second gap. And we've got a four-way battle, or a three-way battle, as it looks like Jax has really fallen back from these guys. Lost 2 seconds to Campbell in this lap so far, as Kyle is really trying to make the most on these guys battling behind him. But Palmer's got a bit of a gap behind him now, so he'll be able to really push and try and focus on catching up to Kyle, of course, who's just behind him in the championship. At the moment, Palmer will be taking the lead of the championship by a little bit of a margin, because Campbell only down in 4th position. So, as we come to, we're on lap 5 now, at the end of lap 4. Kyle leads Palmer by 2.5 seconds. He's got a 1 second gap to Whiteout behind, who's just ahead of Campbell, who's just ahead, or a little bit, 2 seconds ahead of Jackster behind him. As I may turn my fan on in a second, as it is once again roasting in my room. So, not as close racing as there were a brilliant first few laps, I've got to say, between the top 5 drivers, as Chai's running in 6th and V5 always got a 5.5 second penalty. I've got no idea how he will have accumulated that. I assume by maybe cutting the chase, maybe running wide. As it looks like he is actually the fastest man on track at the moment. Oh, as Whiteout has got up into 2nd position. Is that a bottle from Palmer there? Do we ride on board? Oh, he's touched the grass, out's gone, and he's spun it. Wow! Big drama here, as Palmer has dropped all the way down to 6th position. Really unfortunate for him. Wow, that is... oh, as he hits the wall again for good measure. Wow, so that is Campbell up to an unexpected 3rd, Whiteout into 2nd, and the Apex Racing team lead a 1-2 here at Mount Panorama, with Kyle in command for the time being. Really unfortunate for Palmer there. He was doing pretty well, but a mistake, it just shows you how costly mistakes are here, because there's no runoff. A mistake touching the grass will spin you into the barrier, and he wasn't able to rejoin safely, so had to wait until he was down in 6th position to rejoin the track. So I'm sure he will be pretty furious about that and really be pushing to try and catch up, as his opportunity to take the lead of the championship seems to have slipped away slightly, unless he can do something different with the strategy, or of course another driver makes a mistake. So, 11 and a half or so minutes into this race. Kyle leads by 4.7 seconds to Whiteout. Jax is up into 3rd, as Campbell looks to have gone off as well. Blink and you missed some action here, as Campbell's got a 3.5 second penalty. Ouch. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. All this has allowed Chais to get back up into 5th position, and Palmer is currently down in last. As yes, I need to turn my fan on. So, poor from Campbell at the moment. Of course, all drivers will be getting points tonight here, as only 7 drivers will finish the race at the most at the moment. Whiteout catching up to Kyle a little bit, but Kyle may be using this opportunity. No, he's not saving fuel, I'll tell you that now. He's got a little bit less than everyone else. Jackson's got a 1.5 second penalty. Campbell's got up to 3.4 seconds. So I think both these guys will follow them, make sure they serve their penalties on the start-finish straight. As Kyle and Whiteout pull into the pits. So Campbell staying out for another lap. So is Jackster. So Jackster pulls in as he spun into the pit lane. Oh, that's really unfortunate. That is extremely unfortunate for Jackster there, as he's gone into the pits. Right on board with him now. He pulls into the pits pretty late. Oh, that is, yes, that is not the way to enter the pit lane there. That is, you've got to say that's completely his fault. Pretty stupid if you ask me. And that has really thrown him down the back of the grid, because he's got to stay on for another lap now, service penalty. And that will have royally screwed his race, and that will promote Campbell up into P3. As Carly's by only 2.5 seconds, oh, but he refueled a bit more than Whiteout. So you see there's only, if you look in the bottom left, there's only a tiny bit of difference in the amount of fuel they have. But that amount of fuel will have cost Kyle a couple of seconds. As you can see, the gap is only now a couple of seconds from 4 seconds. So Sharon, of course, wishing Palmer some good luck earlier in the race. It's not come through for us. He's really pushing to get past V5 now. Just wait a second, Palmer. You just got to calm down. Get the run on the straight and get past him now. Don't try something stupid and compromise your race even further. It's really a case of damage limitation now. Just try and make his way back up the field. Yep, as he's running up the inside of V5. Kyle in the lead, Whiteout second. Is Campbell going to come into the pits on this lap? Oh, he's already been into the pits. That would explain why he dropped back behind Jackster a few laps ago, of course. Oh, it's Jackster again, almost losing it into the pit lane. That was very close. You would have thought he'd learned his lesson about braking that late going into the pit lane, but I guess not, as he pulls into the pit. So does V5. Palmer back up into 5th position. So Kyle only with a lead of 1.9 seconds at the moment. Both drivers on the mediums. It looks like everyone in the field is onto the mediums except for V5, who's on the soft tyres. Excuse me for a water break, got a bit of a headache. So Kyle has pulled out almost a second on this lap so far. He's got a really good run up and so far down the mountain. Through Forest Elbow. Oh, as he loses the back end very slightly onto the Conrod straight. Gap now 2.8 seconds though, so it's obviously worked pretty well for him so far. In control of this race for the moment. It's his to lose now, you would have to say, as the pack's pretty spread out. It's quite unfortunate we've only got 7 drivers currently on the circuit at the moment. It really takes away from the racing. I know there are some clashes with the mini league going on at the moment, so that is why there are a few drivers like James and Jay Cole not racing tonight, but it would have been nice to have a few more. There are of course reserves, but we've only got 7 drivers currently on the field. I don't know what happened funny anyway. I don't know if he got disconnected or rage quit. So yeah, gap now 3 seconds between the two between the two Apex Racing Team drivers. TVI Campbell doing well in third. That's all he needs to do. Really defend his championship lead against Palmer, who is down in 6th position. After he may have had another incident a couple of laps here, because he lost 3 seconds on lap 7. Maybe that was behind V5. So almost halfway through the race now. It's all settled down a bit. We'll have to hope it picks up a bit towards the end of the race. Alex DJ Furious has commented on the stream saying, "Come on, Palmer, you can do it." I would guess this is Palmer's uncle. He was telling me about it earlier. He was telling me how his uncle started watching the streams, and he suggested that I read out the championship standings before the start of the race. So thank you for that suggestion. Of course, I followed through on it tonight. As Campbell pulls into the pits on the medium tyres, only got 23% fuel remaining, so let's have a little yawn. Nothing against the race tonight. It's all going to be a very tactical battle, but I am knackered. So Whiteout, currently the fastest driver in the field at the moment, going purple in the first sector. Kyle 3.2 seconds ahead of him. A 1-2, very much on the table, on the card, sorry, for the Apex Racing team. Ty's currently the lead SLM driver in third after that incident with Palmer earlier on. So if anyone has any questions or anything to fill the time while we're waiting for a battle, please comment them down below. Sorry for the delay, the gaps between my speech, because there really isn't a lot to talk about currently. Yeah, so this is what happens when you've got a really long lap like Bathurst, and only 7 drivers. It reminds me of my... we have been lucky to have some really good racing in every race really so far. Of course there is always going to be a blip like there is tonight where there's not as much on-track action as you would probably like. Any close battles in the midfield at the moment? No. P5 way behind at the moment. Unfortunate for him. Must have had an off at some point. Chai's currently really good recovery from him so far, up into 3rd position. It looks like 3rd position is on the cards, to be honest. He's done his tyre requirement, he's got not much less fuel than the drivers around him, so Chai could definitely be a contender for a podium tonight. Unfortunately for his teammate Palmer, that really looks off the cards as he's lost 3.9 seconds in the last few laps to Kyle in the lead of the race. Whiteout, another really good, a really strong performance. He looked to be really in the championship battle in the first couple races, but him and his teammate Kyle both had a struggle in the mid part of the first half of the season. But looked to be, both of them looked to be right back on form for Bathurst, leading a 1-2 at the moment. Can't take anything away from them. It's you've always got to be there to win it. And at the moment, touch wood, with no bottles or incidents, they look to be on course for a Apex Racing Team 1-2 in the League of Europe Porsche Cup. Only 50 minutes remaining of this race. Kyle and Whiteout just have to bring it home now. They're in control of this race. Although I would probably bet Campbell... It's going to be close between Campbell and Kyle towards the end of the Campbell and Chai towards the end of the race, I believe, as it's already down to 2.6 seconds. But Campbell will have to go another pit stop, I believe. I don't think he'll be able to make 7 or 8 laps on soft tyres from now, as the middle section really kills tyres around here. It's so flowing. It's such a technical sector, is what I mean, that there's a real high level of tyre wear, especially in these cars with their default setups, since it is a fixed setup series. Any questions on Sharon again commenting, encouraging her son, but I'm sorry to break it to you, Sharon, but it looks like he is doomed to sixth position for tonight unless there are mistakes ahead of him. Just really unfortunate for him earlier. Definitely one of the fastest today, of course, getting pole position, but was not to be. As to pass some of the time, we'll go through any changes in the championship standings as of the results right now. As my laptop will switch itself on, please. Here we go, loading up. It's Campbell, quickest on the track at the moment. Only 1.5 seconds between him and Chise now. We get up the current standing. So at the moment, Campbell will extend his championship lead by a few points over Palmer. Kyle is going to extend his lead over Whiteout. Only separated by 2 points at the moment, but this is going to put Kyle right back in the championship fight as he's going to get 35 points. And he's going to get a gain of 13 points on Campbell if it stays the same as it is now, and 17 points on so he's going to get a gain of 14 points on Campbell and 17 points on Kyle, on Palmer, sorry, so that he'll remain in second position, but he'll only be 18 points behind Campbell and trying to do the maths here. Haven't done maths for weeks, or for years actually. I didn't do it at A level. Yes, so he'll have a gap of 15 points. So it's going to really tighten up the top four of the championship. V5 will jump into 5th position ahead of Dan. Chise will probably jump up if it stays the same as it is. He may jump up to even 5th position. Will he? Yes, he may jump up to 5th position, but it looks like he's going to head down to 4th. So that will promote Campbell up into 3rd. And will shift the balance of points a little bit. So Campbell has come up just behind Chise as Chise cuts the pit exit there. That could result in a penalty for him. It was cleared up before the race because it is very difficult pit exit here. It was cleared out, was acceptable, and that looked to be on the edge, to say the least. So real battle for 3rd we've got here for the final stint of the race. Finally, a really close battle. Campbell just behind Chise, that's right on board with him, as Chise has gone wide pretty quickly after coming out of the pits. Campbell flashing his lights to try and distract him a bit, but it looks like he distracted himself there as he ran a bit wide. And that has allowed Chise to pull slightly ahead, but only a half-second gap. So the closest battle we've seen since the opening laps. But Campbell will really want to capitalise on this. As Campbell hits the wall, ooh, that was very close to being another Palmer-esque incident. Campbell looking a bit shaky coming down the hill now. He's caught up to Chise a little bit, but yeah, it wasn't as fast as it could be through there. So he's obviously being a bit conservative, doesn't want to make any mistakes, or maybe he just lost a bit of confidence after that tiny bit of contact with the wall. And that has allowed Chise to pull out a 9/10 gap. So as Kyle comes into the pits, and so does his teammate Whiteout. So Campbell gap now down to 5/10 of a second. Is that Whiteout onto the medium tyres? No, both onto the softs. So 4 seconds between the top two, and then a 7.8 second gap down to Chise behind, as Campbell now only 2 tenths behind the Dutch driver, the Dutch SLM straight line motorsport driver. Campbell, I don't think he'll be able to make a move up into turn 2 unless he gets a really good run, which he is doing. He's in the slipstream. Slipstream was very powerful on this game. He's going to get a good run. Is he going to make the move? No, he backs out of it, thinks better of it. Still 3 or 4 laps to go in this race, so he doesn't have to do it all now, but he's got to be aware of Jackster behind. He's on a bit worn tyres, but this battling will allow him to catch up. Palmer on his own, and so is V5 at the moment. As we'll stick on board with Campbell through the mountain section as he touches the wall there. Bit scrappy for Campbell at the moment. Let's hope he can improve in the final few laps. Oh, Campbell really pushing now, but that is a mistake going down the hill, and he's lost the back end, and Charles has been able to pull away again, but Charles is going to get a pretty poor exit out of Forrest's elbow. No, he doesn't. He gets a better exit than Campbell, actually, even though he looked like he made a little bit of a mistake running into the corner. So Campbell right on the back of Chise again. He seems to, the slipstream is really helping him for the moment. He's going to want to get him now. Only oh, extremely close there. Only 3 or 4 laps remaining in this race. I believe they'll get 4 in. The top guys definitely will. I don't know about Chise, Campbell and Jackster. Palmer and V5 should only have 3 laps remaining based on the time. Both these drivers really pushing now, really scrapping it out for the final podium position. No strategy involved anymore. Only 5 minutes remaining in this race. As Campbell looks to get, well, at the moment he's this would only be his 2nd non-podium finish of the season, so he will really want to be improving on his current position and not compromise that record for the moment. As Campbell's made a mistake which I completely missed. Apologies for that. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I missed that mistake from Campbell as he's dropped back 3 seconds, and that has put him right in the clutches of Jackster. We'll follow this battle towards the end of the race now. Apologies for missing Campbell's mistake, but he's obviously lost it coming down the mountain. As I say, of course, typical, I miss it. So Jackster only 4 tenths behind now. This has probably secured Chise's podium position, which would be only his 2nd podium of the season, getting a 3rd at the Red Bull Ring in the wet. Jackson not going to be close enough to make a move on this straight going into turn 2. Jackson on slightly worse tyres than Campbell, so Campbell should be able to defend from this fairly easily, but we've known how punishing mistakes are here as Jackson runs slightly wide up into turn 2 and he loses a bit of momentum there. Campbell is going to have to pull out a gap of 1 second. Kyle really done well this race, in command at the moment, dominated and capitalised on others' mistakes. Chais, I'd say, driver of the day after that mistake on turn 1, lap 1, putting him down to dead last, and he's made his way back up to 3rd position, so really good job from him there. Campbell, not been on his usual form tonight, I've got to say. Probably disappointed in himself, as Jaxter is right behind him now, as he's going to have the slipstream up towards the chase. So will he be able to make a move? Only a 4/10 difference, and that gap is going to be coming down. Look at it, 3.5 tenths down to less than 3. Just, yep, less than 3 tenths now. As he's lifted off slightly. Why is he doing that? If I was him, I'd have sent it up the inside there. And he's lost all that time he gained on the straight. So, yeah, an odd decision from Jaxter there not to go for the move. Only, and he's run wide. So only 2 laps remaining of this race for the top 5. Palmer behind them. Yeah, this should be his final lap unless he can pull out a blinder on this lap. Jaxter, not long to take Campbell. You feel like, well, I feel that he's missed his opportunity now. He had the opportunity to go up his inside in the chase, but backed out of it before he even reached the corner. So it looks like this could be the finishing order, but I won't put any bets on it. Campbell really squirrely through the S's section, going with Forest elbow. Jaxter only 8 tenths behind. He'll want to get a good run through this corner, as it looks like he touches the wall there slightly. That's going to really hinder him down the straight. Luckily he's still in the slipstream, well, luckily for him, so he'll still be catching. Only 5 tenths now, so as Kyle is on the final lap of the race now, so is Whiteout and Chais. Campbell and Jaxter look to have made it onto one final lap as well. Yep, Campbell's onto the next lap, and so is Jaxter. Palmer will come home in 6th position. Will he? No, he's completed a lap as well. I really would have thought he would have missed the finish line there. So this looks to be the finishing order for now. Maybe Palmer really caught up to the back of Jaxter in the last few laps, so maybe able to capitalise on the mistake should Jaxter make one. V5 has just come across the line in 7th position. It's all unfortunate, but at least that's still a strong haul of points for V5. Palmer really catching up to Jaxter. 1.3 seconds is the gap at the moment. Down to 1.7. Jaxter still only a second behind Campbell, so will we see as Campbell touched the wall, but so does Jaxter. Will we see a change of position on the final lap? I don't think so, but there's still a chance. There's always a chance of a mistake at Bathurst. There's a ride on board. It's going to be close, but I just don't think there's enough time to make a move. Yeah, that looks to be it as Kyle has come across the line now. Great win for him. His teammate Whiteout in second. Chise is going to come home in third position. Really great drive from him. You got to say, Campbell in fourth, Jaxer in fifth, and Palmer just behind him in sixth. There you go. There's your final order. 7 out of the 8 drivers finished. I've said before, poor turnout, but we move past it. Winners no more or no less deserving than any other race. Victory for ART Kyle at Mount Panorama Bathurst in the night. Let's invite the top 3 to a podium interview. Hopefully they'll all join, and hopefully I won't cock up as I did last week, and hopefully you'll be able to hear them all. ART Kyle. Giles has joined the party. I was just about to send him an invite. I thought I had Whiteout as a friend. Let's try and search him before we begin the podium interviews. Bear with me. Okay, I've invited all drivers to the podium interviews, but we'll start with Giles. He's the only one in the party at the moment. How was that race for you?
Yeah, it was a bit of a tough one to fight back after the half spin on the first turn.
Yeah, really good recovery there. What happened at turn 1? I saw it looked like a bit of a mistake as you lost the back end coming out of turn 1.
No, I tried to go on the inside of Campbell, and I think someone else on his outside, but I wanted to back off because 3F3 wide and it doesn't work going into turn 1. I just reminded Palmer saying no rogues into Devil's Corner, please. Or Hell's Corner, what is it?
Hell Corner, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. My driver of the day, I'd have to say. Really good recovery there. Really well done. Unfortunate for your teammate, of course.
Of the decal on the back of
yes, of course. That's the only reason. Unfortunate for your teammate Palmer, of course, who had a massive incident in the early laps, which really compromised his race, finishing 6th in the end. So we'll move on to second position, who was ART Whiteout. How was that race for you?
It was quite easy. Like, I say that I don't want to brag, but I mean, like, I don't mean easy as in it was an easy second place. I mean, when I was following Palmer, it was easy from that perspective. Once he had spun, it was basically just keep on track and sticking to the strategy. And Carl was a little bit quicker than me in the last stint, so yeah, second place, happy with that. Decent result.
Yeah, very decent result. Apex Racing Team's first 1-2 of the season, so you must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, extremely. It's great. Both on the top step, so...
So we'll move on to the winner of tonight's race, his first win of the season, ART Kyle 22. Brilliant race from you, really commanding. Give us your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good race. It's like what Connor said, really. It was more fighting the track than anything, but I think that run up into turn 2 was on that one was pretty interesting. It was, I didn't expect to get that much slipstream, but from there it was just trying to keep it on the track, and it was a good race, really. It looked like there was a good battle behind, and obviously, as you say, 1-2. I think it's the second win of the season off penalties.
Oh, of course, yeah.
On track, yeah. So I'm happy to take one on track as well.
Of course, yeah. It was a really, really amazing first few laps, but as soon as people started making mistakes, I will admit it was it was pretty dry until the last few laps.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what we said. This track's more about consistency than what it is raw pace. Like, I came on with no practice at all, but purely just because I kept it on the track, kept it, same braking points and whatnot, it pulls off, which is
big flex.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah. So well done, guys. Of course, a brilliant 1-2 for Apex Racing Team. Well done, Ti's in third, lead SLM driver. Unfortunately for Palmer and Campbell, couldn't replicate their form so far this season, but as Whiteout and Kyle said, it's definitely, this track is definitely about minimising your mistakes, and as long as you're consistent, you'll do well. So we'll leave it there. We'll join you. I'll join you next week for Nürburgring. Is it the GP circuit? Please tell me it is.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Hashtag we want Nordschleife.
No, no Nordschleife. No Nordschleife.
Please. Easy.
Yeah, so next week, Nürburgring GP. Should be a good race there. See you next week. Goodbye.